Coverage you can count on. This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 6.
Over 39,000 individuals have been killed, many of which are women and children. And that's just really emotional to think about.
Universities across the nation continue their protest of the war in the Middle East, with Texas Tech students now joining the movement. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Christy is in for Karen, who is off tonight.
A Muslim student organization at Texas Tech is joining thousands across the nation in protest of the war in Gaza, which followed Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. The non-violent demonstration began on campus this morning and lasted through the afternoon.
KCBD News Channel 11 Sydney Lowther spoke to group organizers about what they seek to accomplish and how the Texas Tech students hope they're making a statement. Sydney?
That's right, Christine Abner. The Texas Tech Student Organization said they have three main goals: de-investment, a ceasefire in Gaza, and to stand in solidarity with protesters across the nation who've been detained and harmed.
From Lubbock to Palestine, occupation is a crime.
From Lubbock to Palestine, occupation is a crime.
Texas Tech University's Muslim Student Association and Students for Justice in Palestine created a liberation zone to call for change in Gaza.
Just think that we are 200 days into a genocide. It hurts our hearts. We really want to come out here and advocate for that.
Many college students have gathered at universities across the nation in protest. Groups calling for peace in Palestine, while others calling for Israeli hostages released. Some protest clashing violently.
And collectively, as Red Raiders, we are able to exercise those First Amendment rights properly. We kind of want to make that statement, as well as come out in support of those students who were treated unjustly.
Texas Tech sophomore and member of the organization, Anam Javid, says they are calling for Texas Tech to ensure it's not invested financially in support of the war, a ceasefire in Gaza, and justice for students detained in protests turned violent across the country.
It implies that students were seeking out this clash with local law enforcement, when in reality, that is not what students are wanting. We're wanting to express our freedom of speech in a proper way, and that is what a majority of students were doing in these protests.
The organizers had conversations with Texas Tech University administration, campus police, and city police ahead of the protests, and put strict restrictions on demonstrators so violence would not ensue.
And we really just want to show that it can be done properly and that you can understand the cause and advocate in a proper manner.
The organization recently held a protest after a Texas Tech professor was suspended for what administrators called anti-Semitic posts on social media. Anam credits their protest for getting the professor reinstated and says that using your voice is important.
There is something beautiful about being able to use your voice, and living in a country that allows that is not a privilege to be taken granted for.
The demonstrators staged sit-ins in multiple buildings across the campus and remained peaceful. Christine Abner.
Thank you, Sydney. As we